I'm going to talk to you about some hypotheticals for this spray gun right here, Tekna Prolite, if you're spraying in your garage. Anyway, this truck was sprayed at, the base coat was 9 pounds, and there's really not any modeling that I can see. Got a couple heavy spots here. I got a little bit too heavy on the, well, actually, I think I was a little bit uneven. I think I ran out right here. That's what happened. As I was running low and I switched into the other, and I lost where I was at. So that happens. But and then stuff like there's a little sag right here, but it's because I was shooting in between here at an angle, and I might have overlapped a little bit too much. You know, it's all about shooting it even. Then the clear was at 16 pounds. Okay, I don't know the settings for the base coat. I think it was 2.5, 3 turns out, and 3 turns out on the base coat, and fan turn in. I turned the fan in a half turn. Then on the clear, I went 16 pounds, fan turned in a quarter turn, and I went, first coat was 2.5 turns out, second and third coat were 3 turns. So and this is about the same settings for the last things I did. This is a different material. This is a 2-to-1, they call it glamour clear or whatever. It's still a medium solids product. If it was a high solids, you might need a little more air pressure, and you might need a little bit more. Of course, when you go more air pressure, then you need to open up your fan a little bit more, and you might need to also move your material out a little bit, just a little bit more material. But anyway, it all depends on how thin how much thinner you thin your high solids clear, because usually those require reducer. So if you'll see, there's just a slight bit of orange peel. It's really about what was on the, it's smoother actually than the factory finish was on the truck, and it's definitely shinier than what was on it. But I did notice, like on this side, I was a little bit, just so you know, I didn't use quite as much material on the third coat as on the second. So I know I was going a little bit too fast. So those are the types of things that will give you a little bit of orange peel. But it's not, this is an acceptable amount. This is an amount that normally you should, if you get something like this is fine. You can actually go ahead and color sand and buff from here really easily. I mean, I don't need to color sand anything above this line. That looks pretty darn perfect. There's no dirt in it hardly, and I'm gonna put some stainless steel covers on there, and I don't need to do anything below this line at all because it looks really smooth. But from here to here, I could just run through and do a quick DA color sand on this thing in a couple of hours, and it'll look like glass. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna run through it, give it a quick, get rid of the runs. This is a couple little runs. I got one right here because this is where I started in the back, and I was still playing with my gun settings because I had never used this product before. So I think I had it too far open, and then I closed it up a little bit, and then of course, this, any good painter will tell you there's always mistakes in their work. I mean, almost always, and then it's all about how you fix them. So the bodywork, I'm not, the bodywork, yeah, it was a little rough, but I wasn't expecting it to be perfect. I ran through it pretty quick, just went and cleaned it up. But mainly, this video is just about gun settings and Tekna Prolite, how to spray without getting any orange peel. This is about as smooth as most guys would be able to spray that are in a shop. A few guys I'll spray a little bit nicer every once in a while, what they're going to be using. Again, in a shop, they might be using more air pressure. The reason I use 16 pounds is, hypothetically, I could have been spraying this outside somewhere. So, and if I was doing that, I wouldn't want to have very much overspray, because maybe I wouldn't be able to see. And if I was spraying it at my house, I wouldn't want my neighbors to get overspray in their car. So less dust is important. So if that was the case, so anyway, that's why you won't see me doing spray demos, guys. Sorry, I just won't do it. I'm not stupid. So, but I'll do one here pretty soon when I in the spray booth, and I got one set up and show you guys that it's not that hard to do. It's when you have a good spray gun, it's not hard to get it to look really, really smooth. When you have a cheap spray gun, you're fighting. It's kind of like, doing laps in a Ferrari, and the car just goes around the track, and then you're in a Volkswagen trying to do 100, and you can do it, but you're all over the place trying to do it, So having a good spray gun, that's the kind of difference it is. It's not that, you can't totally. Now, just so you know, I tried to use the Spray It LVLP, and it just doesn't put out a big enough fan. They're not in something this big truck. There's just no way you could paint one of these things with one of those. It's just not enough. You'd have to have the air pressure at like 35 or 40 pounds or something like that, and still it wouldn't put out anything. It just doesn't have a big enough orifice. I mean, the orifice is fine, but it just doesn't have enough airflow going past the paint to suck it through. So that's really what it is. It's not, it's still a 1.4, but this is a 1.4 and that's a 1.4, but there's so much more air volume going through these that it's not even funny. It doesn't even compare. All right, talk to you in the next video.